So currently SCHD has been beaten down over the past year. Right now SCHD is down 0.99% as of today. In the past 5 days it's down 2.92%. Over the past 6 months it's down 6.46%. And even on the year to date it's down 6.27%. Now the biggest question is going to be, when do you buy the dip on SCHD? Or exactly how do you properly buy the dip on SCHD to get the best value for your dollar, besides looking at Seeking Alpha analyst ratings saying that it is a buy right now because it's such a high quality ETF that provides dividends as well as capital appreciation. Now you could see my Fidelity account where I have been building up a larger position in SCHD. I've been trying to buy it since May, and I've been continuously buying into SCHD and dollar cost averaging into it since May throughout June, and even as of today, I have been buying SCHD because I've seen value from this one technical indicator that I have been using to kind of analyze why it is a good value to buy right now. So if we go to Seeking Alpha, we're going to be looking at how to buy the dip on SCHD with Seeking Alpha and when to buy the dip, right? So for background reference, we're going to be using the dividend tab in Seeking Alpha, and we're going to be looking at the dividend yield and dividend growth. For background reference, dividend yield is going to be dividends per share divided by the current share price. So it's going to be dividends paid out divided by the share price of the ETF, this being SCHD. Seeking Alpha, and we look at the dividend growth. So in the past 10 years, SCHD, since inception of 2013, has been rising in its dividend growth. It's been paying a lot of dividends and continually increasing that dividend to shareholders, right? If we look at the dividend growth history, we can see it's continuously growing its dividend year over year, providing tremendous value to investors and to people who invest in SCHD. And if we look back at the dividend yield, we can see that this yield is rising. It's going up since the past year. It's been going from 3% all the way to now of 3.64%. Now, the two indicators I like to look at is going to be that dividend growth history as well as the dividend yield, but more specifically, the average or historical dividend yield. So you guys could take a look at this chart and look at what's the average dividend yield. So in this case, we can see this line of 3%, and it touches that quite a bit. It pretty much averages around that 2.8 to 3.1% dividend yield, and we can all conclude that that is the average dividend yield. Now, you want to be the investor that buys it obviously when it has a higher dividend yield. So when SCHD goes above this 3% threshold, which what it is currently in the past year of 3.3, 3.7, 3.5, 3.64, you want to be the investor that's buying that higher dividend yield. Now, what makes dividend yield rise? It's obviously going to be if we're increasing our annual dividends, which in this case, as you can see, we are. SCHD is increasing its annual dividends year over year. And if we look back at the dividend yield, the denominator of the equation, if it's going to be going down in the case of the share price, that will also push dividend yield up. So lowering your share price is a good and bad thing. It's a bad thing maybe if something's systemically wrong with the company. But in this case for the ETF, if there's nothing wrong systemically, for example, if we look at the holdings of SCHD, we can see it's very diversified in industrials, healthcare, financials, a lot of these value plays, even has technology. Now, on the top 10 holdings out of the 104 holdings, we could see that it has many great quality companies. Broadcom, Pepsi, Merck, Coca-Cola, Cisco, AbbVie, Pfizer, you name it. And all these companies are going to be amazing companies that aren't going anywhere in the future or even with wrong with their business models. They have very wide moats and very great business models, right? Now, most of these companies have been yielding great profits in recent years and even now. So there should be no quote unquote, I guess, reason why SCHD might be down to what it is now of $70.71 as of this recording. Now, in the past year, it has gone up from $77 and the all-time high of around 81. I believe it's around $81. You can see 81, almost $82. And the reason why I believe is because of a market rotation. Now, all that is going to be quite short-lived. Right now, the market is going from value to growth, as you can see in a QQQ. It's going from growth, a lot of these growth tech plays, and as you can see in the past year to date, it's up 37%, and in the past year, it's up 27.28%. Now, if you look back at the dividend yield, like I was saying, if the annual dividends are going to be paying out, are increasing, and the share price is dropping, and there's nothing wrong with the ETF, like SCHD is going to be an amazing ETF for dividends and capital appreciation, then you might want to consider loading up on SCHD if you are an investor in it. Now, it's going to be presenting an amazing yield of over 3%. Right now, it's around 3.6, like I said. So you want to be an investor that's buying right now. And right now, it's going to be yielding a lot more value and a lot more bang for your buck in terms of the dollar, where you're going to be getting a lower share price and higher dividends, because the dividends paid out are going to be more when you're buying more shares of the ETF on a dip. So you want to be an investor that's going to be buying right now. In the past year, if you are buying it, like I was buying it in May, I was getting a yield of around 3.8, 3.7%, which is super high, as well as buying it on the dip from what it was around high 77s to $80. Now, you also were an amazing investor if you bought SCHD in 2020 when the COVID hit and it was yielding over 4% dividend yield. Now, in the future, if you were to imagine this line keep on going up, hopefully it goes down, right? If it goes down, that means that the share price is increasing very rapidly. And when that happens, as you can see right here, the share price was increasing very rapidly. And if we look back at the summary chart, we can see since 2020, that share price has been growing rapidly. And so what happens is that if we look by the equation, if the denominator increases, then the dividend yield will obviously go down. So right now, when I'm looking at dividend yield and looking at the dividend growth and the quality of the ETF, everything checks out to me. So I've been loading up on shares of SCHD using this method that I have been looking at. Now, Seeking Alpha analysts have been rating it as a buy of SCHD. This is all available on Seeking Alpha, and as well as this dividend yield and growth chart on Seeking Alpha. A link in the bio. But right now, I've been seeing tremendous value in SCHD, hence why I have been buying it and trying to build up a larger position in it because of that higher dividend yield of over 3%. So whenever it's going to be over this average, I will be loading up more on SCHD. And if it falls back down to 3% or even lower than 3.6%, I'll still be buying it. However, I won't be buying maybe as much of it and doubling down on it. So in the future, I will be buying a lot more of SCHD. And in the future, I know that this stock is going to be very short-lived in terms of the drawback. Who knows? If it goes down, I'll keep on buying more. If it goes up, I'll even keep on buying. But when this stock does rise up to all-time highs, you probably will thank yourself if you are getting a bang for your buck like right now, and even maybe in 2020, if you bought it at that higher than average dividend yield. So that pretty much wraps up this video on when to buy SCHD and how I've been analyzing when it's a good buy. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like because this cute puppy did. And comment down below if you are buying SCHD or if you agree with my analysis. Now hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day and continue to crush in the stock market. Peace.